Right, so having watched Joe Rogan and his show with Rupert, um, thought I would talk about it because obviously I was very interested to see how Rupert how he would be after his couple of own goals, unforced errors that he's done recently, and he managed to avoid calling people like me, who consider their ancestry, my ethnicity, to be an essential part to my identity. You might want to call it ethno nationalism. Really, it's just nationalism, isn't it? This whole civic nationalist, which I used to think I was, is just another way of saying anyone can be British. And it's not true. Anyway, so this time round, he didn't compare me to a neo-Nazi. So, I was pleased about that. And I would say overall, I think this is a good representation for Rupert, a massive audience, Joe Rogan's audience, and he speaks extremely well. I mean, he's not Mr. Razzmatazz, is he? He's not all charisma, is he? But he's uh, Rupert Lowe is how Rupert Lowe is. He comes across, I think, very very well, very intelligent, and he didn't really pull any punches when he talked about the grooming gang stuff. I think it was a safe podcast. I don't know. I don't listen to much Joe Rogan anymore, but I think Joe is also quite safe when it comes to going too deep on the people. The people, the ones we're not allowed to criticize. And if you know who the people you're not allowed to criticize, you know which people are the most influential and powerful people, don't you? Anyway, so overall good. I suppose I think there's people are reading a bit too much into when they were talking about taking away gun rights in the UK, and he mentioned a murder at Dunblane, and people are going, it was a massacre, and I mean it was a massacre. I think he sort of said it murder, and then Joe sort of moved on quite quickly with the conversation, and I got the impression that he would probably would have liked the opportunity to say, actually, it wasn't a murder, it was a massacre of children. It was awful, an absolute tragedy. But anyway, it didn't. But people are gonna look for any reason to criticise him, and I say, I was well. No, not for any unfair reasons. It's because he's literally thrown me under the bus a couple of times recently, and I've been a very strong proponent of Rupert and Restore, and also, I will say, in the past when I've emailed HQ, they've been very quick in getting back to me. The last couple of emails have been about him calling people like me neo-Nazis. And I've said, they've not been rude emails. They've been saying, I think you need to have a rethink about how you want to categorise being a nationalist, because you've got to realise you've got an awful lot of supporters and campaigners and voters that would probably consider themselves, like me, a nationalist, therefore meaning an ethno-nationalist. Israelis are ethno-nationalists, the Japanese and the Chinese, etc., etc. All these people are ethno-nationalists. So it seems to be that Europeans aren't allowed to be. We're the only ones. You're not allowed to because you're white. That's ridiculous. But anyway, so overall, he did fine, and I think it will lift up, restores Rupert's identity. I'm struggling to come up with words because I'm hot and bothered in the United States and around the world. So it's a positive thing, and let's hope he stops doing that crap, shall we? And then I can go back to being a little bit more supportive of him. But as I say on this channel on a regular basis, don't put anyone on a pedestal because they will let you down, and Rupert Lowe is no exception. You're never gonna be completely happy with anybody. You can fall down a purity spiral, can't you? Like the left do, and just say, "Well, no, that guy once did a thing, and that means he's my enemy," or something like that. And it's just like, no, I think Rupert is extremely useful, courageous guy, doing an extremely good job, and I'm glad he's set up Restore, and I will continue to support him. I think at some stage, if Restore was to get into government, which I get a feeling they're going to do what they've done to Marie Le Pen and was it whatever they're called, her party in France. I think they're going to play some silly shenanigans. But if they were to get in, I think Rupert would be the leader for a little while. But I think he would get pushed aside because there would be younger, more right wing guys that would ease him out and say, look, we need to go further than you're prepared to go. You've kind of tried to restore the establishment, but I think restoring it isn't enough. I think it needs to be like just reset. That would be the better term, because it is rotten to the core, and you can't put a plaster on that. You can't bandage that. You have to amputate, pull out the root and branches, and rebuild. But anyway, let me know what you think about Rupert and his chat on Joe Rogan. Cheers. Bye bye.